Well, thank you again, Mary Beth, for preparing our meeting. Welcome everybody to Irvine International Academy board meeting on March 22nd. It's 6 p.m. And that's the year 2022. We're going to begin our time together with roll call of board members. I do want to welcome every parent and guest with us, and especially our legal counsel, Anthony Sorrell, for joining us as well. Roll call of board members. I'll start with first name alphabetically. Brett Freeman.
Present.
Doug Hewson is present as well. Dr. Edward Watson.
Present.
Thank you. Ethan Kay.
Present.
Glenn Rogers.
Present.
Dr. Jolene Smith.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. And then Miller Zhang.
Here.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. And so we have all board members tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to begin with our public comments. And just to set the stage, there'll be opportunity for other public comments as well about the agenda items. And they may be limited in some scope, but now we'll have up to 30 minutes of public comments should we need to use it. And generally, these are about non-agenda items. But if you want to address an agenda item, we won't respond yet, but we will to those that are on the agenda when it comes up on the agenda. And so, Mary Beth, if you would help people with the notice when they hit 3 minutes, so we can get as many as possible. Should we need to use all of our time, that'd be wonderful too. And I'll allow you to choose them in the order that they arrived.
Yes. I will be calling on you on the order that you arrived. And this time around, it will be 3 minutes. And I will just cut you off on the 3 minutes. So just want to let you know, we're going to try to get as many people as possible. All right, so we're going to start with, for those of you keeping track, if you hit on participants, you'll see the order of people who are going to be speaking. So the first person is W with iPhone, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you. First and foremost, about parents' protest. I think a protest damage school image, affect kids negatively, and affect school funding. I wonder if there's any better way to solve our internal problems. I think as the principal, Stephen is responsible to calm down the parents so that we can work together for a better school. But Stephen failed this responsibility. Many people believe that Stephen promoted the conflict and tried to kick out Michael Scott because he wanted to be the big boss in the school. I wonder if that's true. I hope board can ask Stephen publicly whether he's trying to be the big boss. If so, what qualification does he have? And then second, about Stephen's performance. Based on Dr. Scott's email, he failed giving teacher performance review. He failed creating curriculum, including both Chinese curriculum and English curriculum. And he also failed to give teachers training. I think Stephen should explain why his performance is so bad and whether there's any plan to improve his performance. And also about based on Michael Scott's email, Scott used his own money to reimburse some English teacher, and he also gave $2,000 to a Mandarin teacher. So there's no discrimination against Mandarin teacher. He also donated a lot of school. He donated a lot of money to school. I hope Stephen can explain why there's discrepancies between teacher's letter and the Dr. Scott's letter, and whether he had any involvement in the teacher's letter. And also about biased PTO survey. I wonder how do PTO know things that they are not supposed to know? They are not supposed to know, such as Stephen get a big funding alone. As far as I understand, nobody can get that big funding alone. Stephen should explain publicly if he got that funding alone or he's just a participant. Since all the additional info in PTO's bias survey benefits Stephen personally, and PTO should know that info, I guess Stephen gave all the info to PTO. Stephen should clarify how PTO got the info. And also PTO's bias survey says Scott takes extra money from school, but in Scott's email, he said he donated a lot of money. So which one is correct? So PTO and Stephen should explain how they got the info there in the survey. And also, why do parents know a lot of things that they're not supposed to know? such as the Scouts and the Rockers salary and the Rockers in administrative leave. Stephen should clarify how parents got the info, whether he has released the info to anyone he shouldn't. Like Stephen should also clarify if the parents' info about Scouts and Rockers salary are accurate, because I guess nobody else is talking about it. So he can say whatever he wants.
Okay, that was 3 minutes. Go ahead, On.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Let me open my camera. Okay, this is about the letter I sent to Principal Chung, on March 14, which is the first day of masking indoors optional in school. But the Friday or over the weekend, we receive a question or survey from our specifically Mandarin teachers saying whether my kid's gonna be wearing a mask on Monday or not, and they will use it to arrange the seats, the new seat arrangement. So I was thinking, since all the teachers are reporting to principal directly, I assume this is a new policy orchestrated by the principal to the teacher prior to Monday. So I emailed the principal because of my concern, because my kids say, hey, does that mean I cannot sit next to my kid, my friend? So I asked him, hey, is segregation of students based on their masking decision help nourish the healthy school culture? So this is his direct quote. He answered, we don't believe there is any segregation in IIA. Students are in the same class as they have been since the school started in August 2021. However, my son came home and that night telling me, yeah, his friend and him sitting in the same place, but the rest of the class got divided up. All masked kids on one side, no masked kid on the other side of the classroom. So they are being separated based on piece of accessory on their mouth. So what are the psychological and physical impact to executing this kind of policy? Are we encouraging discrimination among the students? Are we separating them? And then are we encouraging the kids to continue to live in fear, even afraid to breathe air freely, which is critical to their cognitive thinking and physical health? Or you give them a message that if you're not covering up yourself, you cannot sit next to your masked friend unless you start wearing your mask. Is that the message we want? Or maybe the principal forgot or didn't know about one of the most important chapters of American history. Or have I been lied to? Because he told me there's no segregation, but my kids say, hey, there is. And I talked to some parents. Yeah, it's confirmed. They are doing segregation in the class. So remember how some parents complain about Ms. Rocker pulling out the student from the class for whatever reason. So why are we taking students' precious academic time to arrange their seats based on facial accessories? So I request the board to look into this matter, perhaps put some procedure in place preventing such nonsense policy being executed before it has been thoroughly reviewed and consider its impact to our students. Thank you.
Go ahead, Lynn.
Okay, just a minute. Let me set my timer so I know to go under. Okay. This board has still and continues to violate the Brown Act every month. During the last meeting, the moderator disabled the chat feature and unmute feature during the meeting. Since so many hands were raised, I, along with the public, was not able to was not able to speak on the agenda item. Our rights under the Brown Act was denied by this board. In the January 25th meeting, Board President Doug and Mary Beth selected out of order English teachers and staff to speak, despite parents that raised their hands prior to the teachers. Mary Beth, the moderator, even selected a particular teacher and asked, do you have your hand raised? At timestamp 37 minutes and 20 seconds. However, during last Thursday's board meeting, not one Mandarin teachers were allowed to speak. Is it because they all signed a complaint letter against Michael Scott and the board? Or the Mandarin teachers being discriminated against and being the English teachers and staff? being preferred and having priority over the Mandarin teachers. Parents were very upset during that meeting that we all came on board to listen to what the Mandarin teachers had to say. Regarding the first speaker, she had mentioned that Rocker was on administrative leave, and where did the parents hear about that? Actually, for clarification, the Rocker being on administrative leave was mentioned in a previous board meeting. So it's not privy information, it's actually public information discussed by the board. And regarding to the second speaker about mask wearing being separated, there are some parents that, such as myself, I am immunocompromised. If my child was in that class, I appreciate it, or given the chance, if I can have my child at a corner with sitting around unmasked student, I would really appreciate it, because not everybody's immune system is the same. And we don't understand what that child's family has, or conditions that the child's family has, the students' families have. And that is it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Concerned parent?
Thank you. I'd like to point out some alarming traits and behaviors of Stephen Chuang to the board, and I'd like to ask the board to evaluate whether Stephen Chuang is fit to be a school administrator regarding his ethics and professionalism. Regarding his ethics, he used his position as a principal to instigate, manipulate, and influence the Chinese teachers to target at Dr. Scott for their issues and allowed their complaints to be disseminated openly and improperly to all parents. He also manipulated some parents to fight for him by playing the victim, pretending that he himself had nothing to do with all those incessant upheavals, vociferous and malicious personal attacks, and the division of the teachers along cultural lines. Chuang has taken no action as a principal to diminish the negativity or bring those constant disruptions under control. On the contrary, he directed the teachers' and parents' anger and frustration toward his colleagues, PTO, and the board members. He has fostered a hostile school environment, culminating to a public shaming last week, to the point that some parents fear of bringing their children to school and become the subject of bullying and retaliation, and some parents also dread stepping on campus themselves. Regarding his professionalism, he disregarded the reporting process and code of conduct by allowing the teachers to go confronting the superintendent and the board members directly, as opposed to stepping in and helping resolve the issues in a constructive manner. In addition, at a recent open PTO meeting, instead of giving some updates on the school and a report out on his work, he brought up his personal matters, and that was the only thing he touched on. His personal matters are completely irrelevant to his job, but apparently it was more important to him to discuss his personal matters than to discuss school matters as a principal at public meetings. More recently, he conducted himself very inappropriately at the last board meeting by publicly filing a complaint against the superintendent and the board director. He also dragged teachers into the final session of the board meeting last minutely as an attempt to hijack and derail the meeting. Through all those incidents mentioned above, and those I couldn't bring up in the interest of time, he has demonstrated little to no professionalism with an almost non-existent ethics standard. So I asked the board to please look into Stephen Chuang's conduct and evaluate whether he's fit to be a school administrator at IIA or elsewhere. 作为一名学校领导，周文昌利用他校长的职位煽动、操纵和影响一些中文教师，允许把教工层面的问题传播至家长和董事会，甚至传播某些保密信息，包括家长个人联系信息。他无视报告程序行为守则，允许教师直接与校监以及董事会成员产生对抗，而不是帮助解决问题、消除误解、降低负面影响，以团结一致前行。他让老师和父母互相争斗，同时自己扮演无辜的受害者，假装自己毫无关联。对那些不断的恶意人身攻击、不友好的学校环境、中英文教师之间的是非之争，他没有采取任何行动来控制和消弭。相反的，他将愤怒和沮丧引向其他同事、家长会和董事会成员。董事会是时候考虑解雇他了。Thank you.
Okay, thank you. IIA parent, please.
大家好，今天我要用中文在这里将上周三学校致全体家长的公开邮件里所涉及的事件对更多家长做一次公开的澄清。3月15日星期二，一些家长在学校散发 PTO 调查问卷结果。作为尔湾的居民，我们大家认为每一个人都对社区有应尽的义务，有责任告知社区这所学校发生了什么。当很多家长聚在一起的时候，学校办公室工作人员多次走出来，看到了我们，并没有表示不允许我们待在那里。几位父母纷纷离开后，只剩下我和另一位妈妈。很快 Scott 先生出来了，他说我们不是任何组织，不被允许待在学校， 我说我们是家长，有权利待在学校。他命令我们离开。我再次表示，我们是家长，有权利待在学校，并表示已经有家长提前发了邮件和他们报备，我们有权利在学校散发资料，而且他们并没有回复邮件提供任何的法律文件说我们不被允许这么做。但他不予理会，拿出手机强行近距离靠近我的面部。我本能的想要挡住他的摄像头，并表示他应该停止强行拍摄，而且我很害怕，我不知道他是否会攻击我，或者发生什么别的事情，因为毕竟他很高大，而我只有5尺2寸，110多磅。但他并未停止，而是当我走开后，继续尾随我，持续拍摄。之后他报警，警察到来，对他和我以及在场的另一位妈妈分别问话。最后警察告诉我们，在学校散发资料是合法的。以上是全部事情经过，并非 Scott 先生在公开邮件中所描述的我抓了他的胳膊，拿了他的手机。我只想说，这不是事实，我根本没有跟 Scott 先生有任何身体上的攻击行为。作为学生家长，我认为学校最高领导不应该这样对待我，因为你的行为处处代表了学校。如果说因为我去过2次城县教育局，公开发表过对学校管理现状的极大担忧，给 Scott 先生造成了诸多困扰，我对此深表遗憾。但我始终认为，作为学校最高管理人员，对问题可以采取更加积极的处理方式，而不是粗暴的进行打击报复。我曾经是中国江苏苏州某学校的一位副校长，管理着100多位教职员工和2000多名在校学生。作为一位曾经的教育工作者，我深知做教育就是做良心，学生不是商品，我们应该用心对待。家长是学校的客户，有权利对学校进行监督指正。在我曾经工作的学校，如果发生诸如此类学校教职员工对家长的霸凌报复行为，我们是一定会坚决严肃处理的。我也是一名基督徒，我相信上帝，相信公义。上帝告诉我，是就是，不是就不是，所以我不撒谎。我相信做神悦纳的事才会常常喜乐。谢谢大家。
3 minutes. Okay.
Mary Beth, one thing that we can help everyone with is the idea that 3 of our board members are native Mandarin speakers, and we'll trust them to update the English speakers. But if someone does want, is comfortable speaking Mandarin and would like translation, we can extend their time a little bit to accommodate for translation. So they could call upon you if you're comfortable translating. We'll make that offer to people. So your normal 3 minutes could be a little bit longer, more like 5 minutes. So that's an option. But we're going to trust Miller and Ethan Kay and also Dr. Edward Watson to help us understand if somebody doesn't want to translate. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Thank you, IIA parent.
IIA LL.
As a parent, I have some great concerns that Steve Truong's performance on his job as a principal, and I would like to ask board to please evaluate and determine whether he should be let go. It lacked focus on key issues surrounding the school. Just a second. Got some issue here. During its infancy stage, such as creating a STEAM curriculum and bringing more books and more computers for kids, improving facilities such as lunch table and chairs, boosting staff morale, and so on. The teacher's complaint letters ironically reveal that he failed to meet his job requirements, which include creating the STEAM and the history curriculum, completing teachers' evaluation in a timely manner, providing effective teachers training, and making teachers aware of a complaint escalation protocol. Instead, he spent the majority of his time talking to certain parents, directly or indirectly organizing or encouraging protests and unrest behind the scenes, resulting in serious consequences, causing severe damage to the reputation of the school and inflicting long-lasting psychological and emotional distresses and damages on our children. The last point I want to make is demonstrate clearly in the public shaming that took place on the campus last week. The fact that he did not step out to intervene, but just watch it took place in his office was revealing. It just goes to show that he has no compassion or his colleagues and gives no consideration to school children. Trung has demonstrated ineffective leadership, inept management skills, inadequate problem-solving abilities, and crisis management capabilities. It's not visible to me if he has any visions for the future of our school, loyalty to the colleagues and to the schools, and above all, a focus on education and the well-being of our children. Hence, I asked the board to please evaluate whether he qualifies his position at all. Okay. Ms. Strong 没有注意到学校处于早期的阶段，需要关注的关键问题，如更好的课程、更好的书籍、可用的计算机、更好的设施、更好的员工士气等。相反，他大部分时间都在与某些父母交谈，从幕后直接或间接的组织或鼓励纵容不懈的抗议和骚乱，造成严重后果，并且严重损害了学校的声誉，给我们的孩子们带来了持久的心理和情感上的痛苦和伤害。他在正式的董事会会议上违反了守则，在会议期间不适当的也匆忙的邀请了教师和其他他认为潜在的支持者，试图改变正在进行会议的。
Okay. Next, please.
Hi, I will go.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mary Beth. First of all, I want to mention that this looks like the second week in a row when there are parents speaking in this forum that represent only 25% of all parents. The parents that are supporting Michael Scott and are trying to damage Principal Chuang's reputation only represent 25% of the entire parent population based on 2 surveys that were sent out. This is political optics, and I believe that as the moderator for the speakers, Mary Beth, you need to do a better job to make sure that the voices are equally represented and proportionately represented. People who listen and watch this video are going to assume.
Baba, just one moment. I'll give you 10 extra seconds. It's okay to make that observation about Mary Beth, but just address it to the board about her.
Sure.
But thank you. Continue on, please.
Okay, thank you. So it's very disproportionate. So that needs to be noted. 75% of parents that was the result of 2 surveys, one sent out by the board itself and one sent out by the PTO, oppose Michael Scott and believe Michael Scott is doing a terrible job and is ruining the school. So I want to remind all the parents to something that was stated, I said last week, which is there are 3 key reasons why, okay, that's an agenda item. The board has not held Michael Scott accountable for any of his terrible actions that he has done. He's damaged the school morale, the culture. He's damaged relationship with the teachers. He's damaged the school financially by siphoning funds into musical instruments and equipment that is not being used from the school when vital resources are needed to do basic functional items. And the key, the root cause, at the end of the day, we can try to say what we want to do with Michael Scott, putting him in a different position. But at the end of the day, it's the lack of accountability. There is no democratically elected means of establishing and creating this board of governance. There is no democratic method to change board members when they fail to uphold their responsibility, to do their jobs, and to hold people accountable when they behave terribly. So that is a key item. Michael Scott has not held himself accountable either for his actions. He has harassed a parent, called a police officer on her, has put charges on her and has failed to do so. He needs to apologize to her for that action. He needs to apologize to all the parents and the teachers for all the disruption he has caused this school. This school could be a wonderful, amazing place. And Michael Scott is bringing it down, and it's terrible what's happening. And so he needs to be removed, and he also needs to be held accountable. But most importantly, the root of the issue is the board itself which is supposed to be the group in place to hold him accountable, has failed to do its job because they are personally handpicked by Michael Scott to do his bidding. Thank you.
Okay. Dad. Go ahead, IIA Dad, Irvine.
Yeah, I just want to make a few comments. Listening to all these speakers, the parents, I just want to make comments. I think what's still going on campus and off campus is really disturbing. Okay, I think the issue is not about the underlying issue is not about Michael Scott. It's really about someone have personal objectives, trying to take control of the school, trying to take control of the board. I disagree with some of the speakers and pointed directly to some other people. All right, disagree strongly with you. Okay, we can debate, but I think you can see clearly who's behind this by now. And I ask you guys to stop this because you guys have damaged the reputation of the school. I have a lot of people asking me about this school. I try to speak as positive as possible about the school. But right now, I'm in a dilemma. All right. If you really care about this school, stop. It's time to stop. Don't do that. Otherwise, we'll make you stop. And you have damaged, some of you stay behind, instigate all this new violence, verbal violence or otherwise. Okay, borders on activities totally not acceptable. Okay, you just shows how ignorant, lack of professionalism. It gets to points annoying, disturbing. You must stop. I ask the board to take immediate action to take some people off, to bring order and unity back to the school. That's all.
Thank you. Casey?
Yes, hi, my name is Casey. I'm a prospective parent and concerned citizen. I'd like to hear from one of the teachers, Liz Su or Fang Ji. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their opinion. Thank you. If that's possible. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. IIA parent?
Hi, I'm going to yield my time to the teacher.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, second grade or Fang.
Okay. Jay?
Okay, if the teachers are not going to speak, then they probably just don't feel safe to speak, to be honest. I mean, we heard them last week already. And it's really still very disturbing that I feel like it's kind of set up like it's scripted for some people that spoke earlier when if it really was the principal, the school wouldn't be running so well. Like the kids wouldn't be doing so well. It's the backhand stuff that's going on behind the board that doesn't care about what parents have to say or how the school is being run, and how the teachers are getting mistreated, because the teachers are the school. Without them, I mean, the school wouldn't even be doing so well. So, I mean, it's so sad that you guys would put down Principal Chung when he's like done nothing, but try to make the school the best as it can be, but he doesn't have the resources or the people, the board or the, his superintendent who's going to support him. So how is he ever going to make it better if he's just asked to be just put in a corner in a little side and don't speak and just be able to, don't do anything, just be the person that gets parents to come to the school, but not able to actually do anything. I mean, it's really sad. I mean, yes, last meeting, he had to speak up so crazy because why? Because He's fed up. So if he leaves, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any students that want to attend the school, and it's like so depressing that parents that want to say that you're not allowed to wear masks, you get segregated. But I have kids that are young who can't get, vaccinated. They tell you you don't have to wear masks, but highly, highly, recommended. So if it's a political thing, I don't really care if you want to wear a mask or you don't want to wear a mask. It's fine. You could go to school. Everyone go to school. It's a public school. So of course, it's not a private school, so they can't force you to wear a mask or don't wear a mask. But who cares if they want to or don't? And if they want to put them in, maybe they have like family members that, are immune compromised or younger brothers or sisters. And if the kids want to wear masks, then that's great. If they don't, then who cares? Okay. But I actually like it that, I asked them if they could please separate my daughter from the other kids that are masked. And I really thankful that the school allowed that. Thank you. Okay.
Beth, we'll have time for one more now, then we'll have at least 3 other opportunities for public comments on the agenda items as well.
Okay, Jay.
Let Ms. Xie speak.
Hi, I'm the TK K3 Mandarin teacher. I want to speak because I think some parents raised their concerns about the masks. So I think Maribeth has been to my classroom. Dr. Watson has been to my classroom, and some parent volunteers have been into my classroom. If you noticed the seat arrangement, you will see that it is not because like the reason you mentioned, the segregation. No, because I received a request from parents, families. They want me to accommodate their needs because they have some family issues, okay? Some family members are pregnant, okay? Some family members, they could not get the vaccines. So as teachers, we would like to provide accommodations. But I don't know why some parents mentioned this is called segregation. If you ever come to my classroom, you will still notice 1 or 2 students are still wearing the mask in the same group with the students who are not wearing the mask. You are always welcome to come to my classroom and take observations. Welcome, but please be honest. Please be honest. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Fang, as well. We do have next on our agenda, excuse me, closed session where we'll be discussing some employment issues. And let's go ahead, Mary Beth, and form that room. And we'll invite in Anthony Sorrell, as well as Nick Driver when he arrives. He may be on the call now, and then each of the board members. I don't anticipate a long time, but again, thank you, parents. You're always so gracious to participate through the, oh, and then if we could also bring in our HR director, Mary Beth, that's Rachel Carrillo, for some advice as well. All right. Thank you, Mary Beth, and welcome back, board members. Thank you, parents and public, for your patience. Thank you, Anthony Sorrell, our counsel from Young Mini and Core as well. No action to report out of closed session. We'll do a Pledge of Allegiance together. And so I'll invite those that would like to participate to put your hand over your heart, and I will lead out. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Last meeting's minutes were posted for board members. I'll ask for a motion to approve our minutes from last meeting.
Motion, Doug.
Thank you, Glenn. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Edward. And then we'll just do roll call vote. Then Brett Freeman.
You need to unmute Brett. Mary Beth.
Thank you. Present. Aye.
Thank you. And Doug Husen is a yes. Dr. Edward Watson.
Yes.
Annie Kincaid.
Yes.
Glenn Rogers.
Yes.
Dr. Jolene Smith.
Yes.
And Miller Zhang.
Yes.
Okay, minutes approved. Next is a discussion item. It's the review of comparable compensation data for charter schools and our interim executive director. Both last week, the board had opportunity to review various sources of compensation data. Some of that was our historical data, which set the salary for our executive director. We also then, in our closed session, were able to review some data provided by our consultant, which had current schedules for similar positions up and down the California coast. And then lastly, we looked at Irvine Unified School District comparable positions. Board members, any comments from you about our process and the data that we reviewed related to compensation for our interim executive director? We had quite a conversation before, and so wonderful. The second item, discussion item 2, is an oral report of the executive compensation to be paid to the interim executive director. We calculated that together to be $32,100 approximately for the remaining days in this fiscal year through June 30th. But we based it upon the similar compensation structure set for our executive director, Dr. Scott. And so it'll be equivalent for Edward as well. The only difference will be, it will be pro rata for the availability that Dr. Watson has, is about 75%. So we're calculating on that. Board members, some thoughts and comments on that from you.
So I guess the one question I had is, when would Dr. Watson be on site?
Thank you. We anticipate him beginning tomorrow. He's, as a prerequisite, completed the onboarding process, which has a number of tasks. Some of those relate to he must complete mandatory reporter training, sexual harassment training. There is the live scan and background check. And our HR director let us know that he's on target and has completed those. Yeah, so we anticipate tomorrow. Last thought on that from me was our time studying this was significant, and it's likely we could revisit it at the end of the fiscal year. So just wanted to point that out, rigorous analysis. And I think we landed at the right place too. Excuse me. Next will be an action item, and we'll invite public comment. I'm going to take a sip of water if I may. We'll be discussing as the board and taking action on item number 3, which is approval of the employment contract or agreement for the interim executive director, which is Dr. Edward Watson. Prior to us board members discussing and taking a vote, I want to invite public comments on this topic. Mary Beth, I'll rely on you again to have selected those that would like to speak. Again, if we could do 3 minutes, we would be grateful for that as well. Mary Beth, would you lead our public comments on item discussion number 3?
So this is only for the agenda item. Anyone want to make a comment? You can go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh, sorry. Okay, here you go. Sorry. Okay. Anyone want to make a comment? You can unmute yourself. Anthony Chang. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Technical difficulties. Anthony Chang, go ahead. No?
Actually, I wasn't able to unmute myself initially. No comments regarding the present topic. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any comments on this agenda item.
We still have a bunch of hands raised, though.
Okay. iPad. Sean Chang.
Hi, I just want to know, so who will be the director of development? And I don't know if this is an agenda item or not. I also want to know how is the board react about the 2 surveys, and the school still paying Mr. Rocker? Thank you very much.
Okay. The next nice script reading. Okay, Darren.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my comment is actually specifically a response to a comment that I heard earlier that I think is deceptive.
Oh, you know what? This is only for the agenda items.
Okay. Can you call on me later?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, I want to speak. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Lynn, and I wanted to speak on the first agenda item on the discussion item, but I was not able to notify the board at all. I was not able to unmute, but I believe under the Brown Act, I do have a right to make public comments in any of the agenda item. If I can get clarification from Mr. Driver, that would be great.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, for the record, that is my 4th time having to invoke my rights to public comments in the last 2 months. Okay, so regarding the interim executive director, I did not see a job posting for the interim executive director position. I'm not sure if we are required or this school is required to do the job posting, the panel interviewing as well to verify that the interim director that's going to be selected qualifies and meets all the qualification under the job description. And because this is a public school and public funds are involved, I believe that there is a fiduciary duty on this board, by this board, to hire the best, most qualified person for this position. Because mind you, this board has evaded or actually not gone through with the proper procedure, and we had the Miss Rocker's fiasco. And I do not want to see another fiasco. So I'd like to state that for the record. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else want to comment? Future IIA parent? Anthony Chang, you raised your hand. Okay.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Yes.
Oh, hi. I want to say something. I think for parents, instead of looking for a bone in an egg, I think parents should leave the financial and the personnel decision to the board. And I think we should know autonomy is a key component of the charter school concept. Just Google it. I think we should focus on the education and the character building of our young scholars. That's all.
Okay, Doug, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you each on that. Board members, comments on the agreement and contract with interim executive director. By the way, for each, it's posted in our on our Google Drive in the board meeting 3/22/2022. For anyone who wants to see either the actual contract or the job description. The job description has been posted for a number of days. But board members, comments about the agreement with interim executive director, particularly Dr. Edward Watson. Your thoughts?
So Doug, we're putting Dr. Watson in place just through the end of the year, right? And then
Correct.
we'll then open the job description up for all candidates for next year, correct?
Exactly. That's our plan that the board's discussed. We need an interim director, and Edward's shown himself to be expert at bringing some support to our teachers and has qualifications that are stunning, to be honest. His PhD work is in immersion schools, and he has a vested interest in our school. I can't think of someone better for us at this season. And then the idea would be, as a board, we'll do a search for the permanent candidate, and it could very likely be him. But we will exercise our duty to search and look, and as one of the parents had said, find the best qualified candidate. But we certainly are proud of the candidate we have right now. At least I am, and I think others agree. Ethan, some thoughts from you?
You said it best.
Oh.
Just want to say, we're blessed right now to have a person to be able to step in an interim role, who's willing, who's also capable, and who has a pulse on who's for the school and really the sole objective. And think to fulfill this interim role. And again, I want to echo very clearly, like you said, Doug, the school will go through an exhaustive, proper process to be hiring a permanent ED for next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brett, Dr. Smith, and other board members, comments or thoughts prior to me calling for a motion and vote?
I just hope that parents recognize and stakeholders of the school recognize that the board does hear you. And so we do the best that we can in the best interest of the school. So we're very fortunate to have Dr. Watson. We appreciate his willingness as well as his experience that he can provide tremendous support for the school for a lot of areas that we've heard parents and stakeholders loud and clear, teachers, say that they need more support. So we have full confidence in Dr. Watson's ability to support. So thank you very much, Dr. Watson, for your willingness to partake in this.
And then Doug, for the vote, right? Edward would abstain. he would no longer be a board member for the remainder of the term. And we would be basically one board member short through the end of this calendar year as we evaluate to bring on new board members next year, correct?
That's our status. That'll be our status at the end of the meeting. Nick has a comment on that as well, our consultant. Nick, would you, you're able, there you go.
Thank you for allowing me to comment. Yes, what would be necessary for Dr. Watson if he is voted in tonight would be to take a temporary leave of absence from the board in the form of a letter to the board stating as such. And that temporary leave can be ended should he come back on the board after serving his term at the end of the year.
Thank you. Dr. Smith and Miller, Zhang, would you give us some of your thoughts?
I think in this season and this time, Dr. Watson is an amazing choice for interim, and we're very fortunate to have his availability right now, considering all that's going on in education right now. And so I fully support him as the interim for IIA.
Miller.
Yeah, I think as we see in the school, in the situation that, you have two tracks. One is the school leadership, the other one is the school management. So I think definitely that both needs to be cohesive. And then right now we are facing the challenging of a school leadership. So for Dr. Watson to get in and then in this interim situation, I know that it's not an easy role, but it will be a challenging for your ability. But I think the board find that you will be the person that's suitable in time like this, and then step in and then to do, and then also probably, I would just say that, to show your leadership at the same time, and then your character that, to bring to save, to help the teacher, and then to help the principal, if you can, and then also to help the student that, with your leadership. So yeah, I'm totally like to see this as a positive, creating a positive and safe environment for education.
Thank you, Miller. I want to ask then for action item 3, a motion to approve the employment agreement for our interim executive director.
The motion, Doug.
Thank you, Glenn, and a second, please.
I second.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. I'll do a roll call vote. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
And Doug Husen is a yes as well. Edward Watson's going to abstain. And then Ethan Kay.
Aye.
And Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
And Dr. Jolene Smith.
Yes.
And Miller Schrein.
Aye.
Thank you all. And so unanimous with abstention, that's appropriate as well. And so we do welcome our new interim executive director. And of course, you just heard it, you have full board support. And I know you've won the support of the admiration of many of the teachers. And we care about the classroom, start with the classroom and the teachers and the children, and then through to our administration and your working relationship with Principal Chong and the office staff. We're looking forward to having you really set the tone. So thank you very much. Brings us then, I thought I described that as action item 4. That was action item 3, actually. Oh yeah, now action item number 4 will invite public comments as well. Let me describe what this is. It's listed as approval of revised job description for founding executive director to a new role as director of development. For those that are not familiar with the title director of development, it tends to have to do with school promotion and fundraising. So that's the role. The draft of the job description as reviewed by the board is on the shared website in the board meeting 3/22/2022 folder for any review. But I do want to, as we did before, allot 3 minutes to those that would like to comment on this item number 4. Mary Beth, would you coordinate that on our behalf, please?
Sure. So this is for the approval of the revised rule, the Director of Development. I'm gonna go in order. Darren? Darren, do you have any comments about the agenda item? Okay. Okay, Brown Act violation. Do you have, oh, wait a minute. You know what, I'm gonna unmute.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Come on, come on.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Darren. Oh,
Okay, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, gosh, my phone wouldn't come unmuted. I was freaking out. All right. Listen, I think this kind of applies to this subject because it was something spoken earlier about the survey that applies in many ways to Dr. Scott. This is his he talked about one other person talked about the survey. That survey was an absolute joke of a survey. It wasn't a survey at all. It was propaganda. And I can't read all the questions to you, but I can read one. One of the survey questions said specifically, Principal Chuang secured the $600,000 public charter schools grant program for IIA. Okay, that's not a question, right? That's a 13-word sentence to start this thing. And it says, do you agree that he is important for the future success of IIA? Well, I guess you just told me he got $600,000. It's an absolute joke of a survey. And they pushed this survey out ahead of time of the board survey, just a couple of days, so that they put it out to every single person. It was sent out there as a weapon. It was meant to deceive. And the fact that they keep citing it tells me that they don't have anything better than this fraudulent survey. If that's the only bullet in their gun, it's a blank. So take that with a grain of salt. The survey is a joke. Thank you.
Okay, Brown Act violation.
Yes, I just want to make it clear that the last speaker actually spoke on an agenda item that is not, that does not pertain to the agenda item, and he was allowed to speak and continue on without the moderator or the president of the board stepping in. I was not able to address agenda item number 3 because I raised my hand and I wasn't able to unmute, and there was no way to let the moderator know, and she just bypassed me. But so I want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Invoke
Liz.
it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for number 3, for under Government Code Section 54953, Section C3, prior to taking a final action, the legislative body shall orally report a summary of a recommendation for a final action on the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of a local agency executive as defined in subdivision section 35111 during the open meeting in which the final action is to be taken. This paragraph shall not affect the public's right under the California Public Records Act to inspect or copy records created or received in the process of developing the recommendation. The summary that's provided on the agenda item for each of the action item is not sufficient under the Brown Act as well. So that is another non-compliance on the board in terms of the Brown Act. Thank you.
Okay. Anthony Chang.
Hi, how's everyone doing? I actually just wanted clarification regarding the director of development, because Dr. Scott started out as the superintendent in the beginning of the year. So when he became executive director, was his salary adjusted appropriately? And now that he's becoming director of development, is his salary going to be appropriately adjusted as well? And just to respond to Darren, because he was allowed to talk about a topic that was off topic, let's remember there were 2 surveys. There was the PTO survey as well as the board's own survey. The board's own survey was 80% supporting Principal Tuan and 80% against Michael Scott. So the legitimacy of the PTO survey was actually proven by the board's own survey. Thank you.
You tainted the whole survey pool 2 days before the actual survey
Hold
was
on.
sent.
Okay,
Cut 'em off, cut 'em
Nick
off.
Driver,
Just a moment. So thank you, by the way. We're on topic here on the idea of the executive director, new role as director of development. Want to hear from some others. Nick, we may need to go back on something since there was an extra comment on action item 3. Will we need to revote on that now, having heard the extra comments?
Yeah, I was going to respond to that. Can you hear me?
yes.
I was going to respond to that. That is why there's a discussion item for the points that you made about the compensation needing to be listed in public before a vote. That's why there is discussion item, 2 discussion items before the action item. That is the way that legal scholars and lawyers for IIA have directed us to list this in precisely to be in accordance and alignment with the Brown Act. So we believe that our authorizers and certainly our lawyers have guided us in the right direction. And that's why we've listed it the way we did, with 2 discussion items, disclosure of salary, as well as the compensation study before the action was taken. So we can continue to have a debate about the fine points about the Brown Act, but since I've done many trainings on the Brown Act up and down the state, and so have IIA's lawyers, we believe that we are on very solid ground with regards to the way that we voted on this tonight.
Nick, having received an additional comment on action item 3, which might be persuasive to board members, do you recommend we vote again?
Sure.
Just as a safeguard, I don't want to discount their comment, and it may have been persuasive. And so if the board members won't think less of me, let's dot our I's, cross our T's on that. I'll ask for a motion then, having closed the comments on action item 3 and the previous discussion. I'll ask for a motion to approve the employment contract and agreement for our interim executive director.
Motion to approve. Brett.
Thank you,
Second.
Brett Freeman, and Glenn second. We'll do a roll call vote. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
Doug Husen is a yes. Dr. Edward Watson will abstain. Ethan Kay.
Aye.
And Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
And Dr. Jolene Smith.
Yes.
And Miller Schwam.
Aye.
Okay, and I apologize. We had just that technical piece where we really should hear all comments prior to. Let's continue then with any comments on our action item number 4, which is the revised job description. Mary Beth, if you want to see who else would like to comment, we'll get through those as well.
Okay, so this is for the revised job description. iPhone, you're next.
Oh, I just want to first congratulate Dr. Watson and thank you, board, for this decision. So all I hope is to have a peaceful school, so there's no conflict anymore. I hope that both sides can calm down. I really hope Dr. Watson can do that. It's a tough time there. And yeah, congratulations. That's all.
Okay, Philip Chen.
All right, sorry. It says host is not allowed. Okay, all right, sorry. So just one more comment on item number 3, because I wasn't able to speak, but I swear you probably don't have to revote. Glenn, I think you misspoke in saying calendar year. We don't mean like end of the calendar year, meaning December, right? We mean end of the school year. Okay.
End of school year.
I just want to clarify, that's all. And I know it's just something I caught. So about item number 4, I noticed under the board agenda for this meeting, all the other 3 items, artifacts were listed. but the description for the director of development is missing. I heard Doug say that it's in a drive somewhere, but I still have not yet been able to find it. Is there any way we can delay this vote so the parents can, read what the description is so that you guys don't have to answer as many questions tonight because it is in there? I just want to state that I can't find it. Maybe it's just me, maybe other parents can speak up and say that. But specifically the question is, I know this role, sometimes it's, universities have this, as Doug said, is for, promoting the school, getting grants, stuff like that. But I think the typical compensation in this, you guys can let me know what the research has been done for the proper salary and the proper metrics to evaluate the role. I believe it's 10 times the salary. If I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me. And also, in this role, would Dr. Scott still have influence in creating an agenda in his previous role? Would he be hiring any staff for his role or structuring curriculum and stuff like that? And that's it for me.
Steve Wang.
Hey guys. So I spoke to Ed a little bit about this, but I've been speaking with some people that I know in the development world, most significantly the director of development at USC. And I just wanted to make sure that we have the salary in line with kind of what's expected of this role. And what I hear is basically your salary is 1/10 of how much you're expected to raise. So if he is expected to raise $1 million, then $100,000 salary is justified. But if he's not expected to raise that amount by himself, then we should revisit whatever the salary is for the role. And the other thing was just in terms of the other parent that spoke up, we need to be consistent in terms of if someone is speaking off topic on an agenda item, that we really do our best to kind of cut them off. That's it.
Future IIA parent.
Hello, thank you for letting me speak. My kids will attend IIA next semester. So I had a chance to join a group of parents for the school tour. I think I just want to provide my comments here. First, I can tell Dr. Scott, he's very passionate about his school and he's dedicated to the kids. And the most important thing is all the kids just loved him. So they were so happy and so confident when they saw Dr. Scott and talked to him either in the hallway or on the playground. So it was at that moment I wanted my kids to come. So I'm really disappointed by some parents' action. I think for students being disrespectful to any person on campus, this is not allowed. Kids knows, and most of kids know, they could get detention for that. But what about some parents? They set a bad example for our kids, and there's no consequence.
Sorry,
and now
is this in line with the agenda?
Yeah, and now you guys let Dr. Scott let him go, so it's very not fair.
Okay,
that's my comments.
Thank you. Michelle?
Hi. Why is a position being created specifically for Michael Scott? Was this Director of Development position in the original charter petition? Does Irvine International Academy have surplus funds for an additional directorship position? If so, does this mean that funds for teacher aides next year will be available from the school budget versus from PTO funds? I'd also like to know if the board feels that Michael Scott has exhibited professionalism to continue to have a paid role at IIA. from the beginning of the school year, there have been numerous complaints regarding Michael Scott from parents, by every managing teacher, and most recently by the principal. Why is this special job being created for him, not open to other people? And will this be a position that he will continue to have in future school years? Does the board find Michael Scott's handling of the recent situation with parents professional? Was it appropriate for Michael Scott to call the police? He then used his position as a platform to email all parents regarding an alleged assault. What action did police take after they investigated, conducted interviews, and reviewed video? Was it appropriate for Michael Scott to state that parents were soliciting when they were distributing information? In 2019, I witnessed Michael Scott collecting signatures for his petition outside LaPorte Mandarin School. Eva Duan, the business manager of LaPorte Mandarin, asked Michael Scott to leave and informed him that the Irvine company does not allow soliciting. Michael Scott refused to leave and stated it was public property. Why are the rules different for Michael Scott versus for IIA parents? Thank you.
Thank you. Alex Chan.
Thanks for allowing me to speak. Alex Chan, professor at UCI and a parent of a child at IIA. A couple of things. First of all, a few people were off topic, Doug, and also Mary Beth. I don't know why you did not forcibly stop those conversations. It doesn't make sense. We have a future parent commenting what's going on at the playground. We gotta discard the comment, right? It does not make sense. Second of all, a lot of parents have talked about not able to find the revised job description for the director of development on the shared drive. So I want to bring it to your attention because clearly nobody can find it. I think we need to read it because otherwise, how can we even comment on it? But more importantly, I think I want to bring up a very constructive criticism for you guys. We are thinking to transform the current founding executive director, which is Mr. Michael Scott, into this new role. So I wonder whether or not that we're going to provide training, all right, in terms of to guide how Mr. Scott is going to change his role so that he's going to confine to what he's supposed to do as a director of development. I work very closely with the director of development of my school at UCI, and he has a very confined role in terms of fundraising, getting grants, and he doesn't interfere with curriculum. He doesn't interfere with what's going on in the classroom, doesn't communicate with teachers on a regular basis. So I think training is important. Guidelines are important, making sure that there's certain guidelines in place, because clearly, again, how do you ensure that somebody who's so comfortable with the current role and transform into a completely separate role all of a sudden? And I guess these are some of the things that we wanted to see, that it needs to be written out so that parents have a lot more comfort about knowing what this new role is going to be like and how is that going to affect the current school. Lastly, I also want to mention that now, congratulations, Ed is now the new interim director or superintendent or executive director of the school. We do need to update the website as soon as possible because I see a lot of images and information that Mr. Michael Scott is still the face person of IIA. We do need to update to respect our Dr. Ed Watson here. Thank you.
Okay, Lynn.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak. I wanted to ask if this board actually created this job specifically for Mr. Scott, the Director of Development, because under the Brown Act, the board is also required to provide on the agenda item, on the agenda itself, access to the job description that will be voted upon for the public to review. This board has not complied with the Brown Act by not providing a link to the job description. Also, since the public has not been provided the job description for this position, how does the public know what Mr. Scott, whether Mr. Scott is even qualified for this position? And that is my concern. And I do, again, no offense to Dr. Watson, congratulations on the job, but I had to mention it prior that my concern for you being hired on the position, but no offense for you due to your qualification. Thank you.
All right, KL.
Hello, can you hear? Oh, okay, I'm on now. Yeah, I noticed that Dr. Scott is demoted, and people still wanted to get him out. I don't really know like exactly what happened there, and people also question about Dr. Watson's position. So I think these parents just want Stephen to be the ED, and if Stephen's ED, probably they won't even have any issue with job posting or other issues. So I just want to say, like, parents, you gotta be calm down a little bit. Let students study there, stop this fight. Let's just see how Dr. Watson is working there. Like, don't worry about his salary. You shouldn't even know his salary. If someone tell you his salary, then probably that this person is not ethical enough. And I'm just guessing maybe that's Stephen there. So that's all my comment. I just want to have a peaceful school. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, Tong Yin.
Hi, everybody. Alex just mentioned about training for this DOD job. It looks like it's mostly like a promoting marketing type of job. So I would recommend for the training and maybe have some culture training and also have some community relationship. You know, somebody live in Irvine and know the urban community here, which is a pretty wealthy community, by the way. And also maybe with Mr. Scott can consider to take some Mandarin classes. That will be a good start. Thank you.
I think that's it, Doug.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Some reflection from the board on the reclassification of Dr. Scott, or if you heard a question that you'd like to respond to. But I'll start. The place where we place documents is twofold. For board meetings, oftentimes we will place the agenda on the front page of the website, and immediately right there some pertinent documents, but not all documents. Then we use the link at the top of the website, which says About Us, Accountability, and then within that IIA board meeting agenda and videos, and then the date of the meeting. So that's the pathway there. It may be a little bit clunky to some, but that's the location and the traditional location we put all the documents. And it stays there as an archive as well. So go ahead, Glenn.
So yeah, on the DoD position, right? We're doing it just through end of this year, correct? End of calendar year, right?
Yeah, you're right. Fiscal year, June 30th.
School year, right?
School year, yes.
And Edward, as the new interim, right? You're going to be responsible for setting that new salary. Is that correct? Starting tomorrow?
Yes. So I'll be responsible for setting with some advisement from
time.
with some advice from the board. I'll be setting his salary, and his position will be up at the end of the school year, or when my position is up, which is June 30th. And then I suggest the permanent executive director, whoever they may be, would then be able to decide whether or not Michael Scott continues on in this role, or if it's needed at all, or if it is altered or changed in any way. The permanent ED, after we search for that person, will be able to make that decision.
And then the DoD reports directly to you, right?
The DoD reports directly to me, and everything that the DoD does will have to be run through me first, and that would include the dissemination of funds.
And in this case, Michael would be in that role and he'd be 100% remote. Is that correct?
Yes. So there would be no reason for him to be on campus, to be on site, to have any interaction with teachers, staff, students, or parents. The only interaction he would actually have would be with me. And I would be, as the interim executive director, the final say in whatever his roles are and how he goes about accomplishing them.
Okay. And then the compensation structure, are you doing a comp analysis to figure that out?
Yes, with support of the board, we will look at various other schools that have similar type positions. It might not be perfectly apples to apples. Sometimes you see these positions at university levels. I think a parent commented on that. Sometimes you might see a charter school having something, but not exactly what this role is entailing. So we'll look at those to look at some compensation structures, and also potentially his salary will be based on his performance and how much money he's able to raise.
That's it. Doug, I have nothing else.
Brett, you were going to add something, and then Ethan, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have any further comment.
Oh, sorry. Ethan?
You know, I think, first of all, we worked really hard on this. I have to comment, Doug. Hard discussions was had, and we're doing the right thing for the school. So that's number one. Michael's being put now, not put, but he's now being given a role that he can excel at. I had no prior knowledge of Michael Scott. None. I didn't even know who he was until a phone call, a 1-hour phone call. And he was able to talk to a foundation I'm part of to give a grant. He has successfully proven to raise funds from the community. And his other role as executive or founding executive director may have caused some distraction from not allowing him to be able to focus more on fundraising. I have no doubt that this role right now that he is allowed just for the end of this school year will be successful because he has demonstrated it. I just want to again echo that Michael has such a great passion for the school. Unfortunately, it has been it's not gone well the way all of us has occurred, but just want to say, I think, you know, for the remaining of this DOD position and with reporting directly and exclusively only to the ED is absolutely from an organization structure, agnostic to any person. So very happy for this role for Michael.
Dr. Smith, and then I want to hear from Miller. Because Miller, you may have some reservations, but you know, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. But Dr. Smith?
Sure. Again, Michael Scott being the founder of even and the writer of the charter itself, he was the visionary, continues to be the visionary as to IIA and what that is. He does have great passion. And I do believe that this is a great position for him to continue to speak on that passion as well as gain others, bring others along into the vision of IIA. So I think this is a great position for him.
Thank you. Miller, anything you would like to add as well from your perspective? We may have to unmute you to make sure you can speak there. Thanks, Mary Beth.
Yes. Yeah, I think we come to this point and then to work all this way up to this point. I very thank the leadership of the board, and then also thank you that we are just try all our best to make it sure that creating a safe and then also positive environment, even among the midst of the challenge. I think Michael, I mean, since right at the beginning, that we both talk about it, and it also brings up the idea, and then seeing him working so hard for 3 years and then get to this point. But I think sometimes when we come to the school that we need to talk about school management, we need to talk about school leadership. So at this point that, you know, we're seeing there's a transition, and then also all the board members, the unanimous are looking into that, you know, we want to making the best out of that. So I think, yeah, and then maybe this is the best for him to in the time of transition, and also allow the space for Dr. Watson that, you know, to practice, and then also to getting the fully support. So I really urge the parents, and then look at the, you know, how can we be part of the school as a healthy and support, and then put aside some of our self-interest. I think for the best, go for the best for the children. Yeah, and then the children really like to see excel with happiness and also with the positive. So yeah, and go forward.
Thank you, Miller. Brett, what's occurred to you? Anything that you would share with the board and our parents and public?
Well, I would say that this decision, we feel is the right decision, has been a hard one, and there are a lot of supporters for Dr. Michael Scott, and you know, some of us are at the school because he's the first person we met and talked to about it, and similar to the other new parent that mentioned, a lot of parents were attracted to the school because of him. So I don't think we should underestimate his ability to bring in grants for the school. But I also hope that he can lend his experience and his insight into helping the school be true to the charter. And I hope that we can leverage his insight to help bring the vision to fruition. Because there's been so much infighting over the months and months and months. So much of it is really not about the kids, the students at the school. And this is really upsetting because, you know, we're at the school for those that are parents because we want a better future for our children. We want to prepare our children for what is out there in a global marketplace. So I hope we can have those discussions and have those be the thrust of our board meetings. So we can increase the competitiveness of IIA on a global stage. I really look forward to those meetings, and I hope we can bypass the distractions and get to those as quickly as possible.
Thank you. And Dr. Edward Watson.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what Brett just said, I've already met with Principal Chuang. We've had a number of discussions. Most recently was yesterday. And we have laid out a plan for both of our roles and responsibilities to to sort of have a shared vision of creating this school and creating a better work environment. And of course, supporting our teachers is number one on top of that list. So I hope everyone can support me and the teachers and the principal as we move forward. 好，谢谢大家。我认为你们可以全部都是申请，可以支持我们的校长，还有那个就是我们的老师。I just repeated what I said in Chinese.
Thank you very much for that emphasis and amplification. That was great. That's wonderful. And so, you know, we can't have enough supporters. And if I could clone Dr. Scott by 100, we'd have a couple extra $1 million for a curriculum. So let's just watch with anticipation what can happen as we harmonize our efforts in this season. May I ask then, An, you had a quick, I saw your hand go up, and if it was about this, before we vote, I would allow you to make a final comment. An, what was your, we may have missed you early on, and we had probably about 5 minutes left for public comments on this topic. So sorry we missed you, An. Why don't we go ahead, Mary Beth? Let's take An because I did see that we missed An.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I'll be short. Thank you for the board's decision about the interim superintendent for Ed, and also put Dr. Scott to do what's his best with, right? Getting money, marketing. I mean, he's the one who found the charter school, and nobody can change that. So I recommend that parents who always personal attack him, give him a chance to do what is best, and stop micromanage, stop Brown Act, stop all this nonsense. Let's focus on what's best for the kids, for the school, and stop all this nonsense. 我觉得你们好像要赶尽杀绝，他已经 被 demote， 他已经下台了，你就给他做别的嘛。为什么那么恨他？我不知道你们跟他有什么仇恨。他是可以帮我们拿多点钱，帮助我们学校和学生。Let it be. Please stop this nonsense. Let's focus on the kids in the school. Stop distracted with this personal attack. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. And I know a lot of parents left the school because of this, not because of Scott. And I know future parents also call me, asking me about the survey, what happened, and all this. Okay, I have to explain to them. So please stop this damaging school, repetition, because it's really harmful. You guys are not doing the good for the school.
Thank you. I think
Thank you.
I thank you, An. You captured it. I want to be kind of fair, but I also want to move on pretty quick. And at the same time, An came on, then a couple jumped on real quick. I've allocated already about 30 minutes, but Philip, I think you wanted to speak, and then I think, I don't know, it says I'm Prison Mike. I'm not sure what that is. Let's get you two in, and then each very quickly, because we've overrun our 30 minutes, but in fairness, Philip first, I'm Prison Mike, then Priscilla, about, again, the new role of Director of Development.
Yeah, Doug, I swear I'll be short. I just want to let you know I can't find this document you speak of. That's all.
Oh, okay. And Mary Beth, you know where it is. Can you put in the, can you put a link in the comments? Open up comments and put the link in for the board meeting folder, board meeting 3/22/2022. I get there by going through the website, but others might not be successful. But why don't you try that? And thank you, Philip. Let's go to I'm Prison Mike, and then we'll finish off. I think, did I say someone else? Well, let's go with I'm Prison Mike.
You guys have been told that people are going off topic repeatedly, and you guys keep letting them go. You can't do that. And did I hear in your discussion that this DOD position is supposed to be for the end of the year? I don't remember hearing that earlier or anything, but that happened after the comments earlier. So can you clarify what that means? Does that mean Mr. Scott's going to be here again next year in some other role? What's going on with that? And you guys got to keep it on topic, Doug and Mary Beth. Come on.
Thank you. I think one other disappeared, but Steve, why don't you be the final one then, Steve Wang?
Hey guys, so I know that in the OCBE meeting, it was very explicitly stated that you cannot address the audience or the parents or anyone else in the room. That all comments should address the board. So let's just make sure that that stays consistent.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I did want to get those last ones in. For action item then 4, could I have a motion to approve the revised job description for the executive director into the new role of Director of Development?
Ethan motions.
Thank you, Ethan. And would someone second, please?
Brett seconds.
Thank you, Brett. Let's do a roll call vote. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
Doug Hewson is a yes. Dr. Edward Watson. Yeah, let me think on this for a moment.
No, you can't do that.
No,
Doug, you can't, because he's no longer a board member.
Well, he's going to be no longer a board member in about 30 seconds, but let's, if you don't mind abstaining, if you don't have a dog in this hunt, Edward, why don't we have you abstain? Are you okay with that?
Yes, I'm okay with that. Abstain.
Thank you, Glenn. I think that's wise. Ethan Kay?
Aye.
And Glenn Rogers?
Aye.
Dr. Jolene Smith?
Yes.
And Miller Schwang?
Yes.
Okay, thank you all. Then that action item passed. Action item 5 will be tabled to the next meeting with a, so we won't take public comment on it because we're not going to act on it. All I will say is the reason it's being tabled, the board has tasked the executive director to complete the compensation and contract. We'll ratify following as we do most contracts as well. That brings us to our item number 6. It has discussion and action, and that's to accept temporary leave of absence of board member Edward Watson, who will write a letter to that effect. We'll invite public comment first, and board discussion, and then we'll take a vote on that. Anyone from public comments that would like to comment on the temporary leave of absence for board member Watson, of course, to fulfill his new role as interim executive director? I see a couple, so let's take, I'm President Mike. Sorry if I didn't recognize your name from before. Would you please share first, and then we have Lynn.
I just heard Glenn correctly state that Ed could not vote on that last one because earlier you guys already approved him as interim executive director. So that was correct. You should have known that. He doesn't have to be asked to abstain. That should have been automatic. Once he was voted in, it's automatic. That's it.
Okay, thank you for the Robert's Rules of Order. Lynn?
Yes, I'd like clarification. From my understanding of regulations under 35107, the temporary leave of absence possibly is a violation if it's either an employee or you're on the board. And I'm not sure if the temporary leave is sufficient because under that code and also under, let me see, you can, the education code prohibits an employee from serving on a board member in the same district, specifically education code 35107B1 states an employee of a school district may not be sworn into office as an elected or appointed member of the school district's governing board unless he or she resigns as an employee. So my understanding from those two codes, you can either be one or the other and not just leave of absence. If I can get clarification, that would be great. Thank you.
And then Tung Young.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations to Dr. Watson. We had a high hope for you. And assuming this vote is going to go through, you guys will allow Dr. Watson to take temporary leave. And then the remaining board, the statistic has changed. So the remaining board will have one parent representation and 0 representation from urban resident, 2 from County of Riverside, about 90 minutes drive from Irvine, where the school is, and 1 from beautiful Vancouver, Canada. So, and this board is in control about 3.5 million annually tax dollars from our pocket. Okay, just remind everybody of these. And we pledge allegiance at the beginning of every meeting. We pledge allegiance to United States of America. We don't pledge allegiance to Canada. We don't pledge allegiance to China. We pledge allegiance to United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, board members, before we take a vote?
Can we get clarification?
Go ahead, Brett.
Can we get clarification from Nick? If he's familiar with.
Well, we had Anthony Sorrow in our closed session aware of this and approved that this is the right move to make. And so he's intimately familiar with charter board procedures. So yeah, we have 2 choices. One is the motion is that will be asked for is to accept temporary leave of absence of board member Edward Watson. If that's a violation of Ed code, then we'll correct it and we'll remove him permanently from the board. But our council had no trouble with it in closed session. Any other comments prior to me asking for a motion?
I guess if we vote on it, are we gonna have an action item to follow up just to clarify?
Oh, we could do that as a discussion. Yeah, why don't I take that as an action item to confirm tomorrow with Council Anthony Sorrow of Young Mini and Core that the proper action is to accept temporary leave as opposed to accept permanent resignation.
Yes, we probably, I'm just wondering with Dr. Watson, if he would let us know here, if he understands that he may, we're going to get clarification on it, but he may need to remove himself from the board, resign from the board. And if he's okay with that.
Well, it's a it's a tricky situation, because if I'm not going to be the permanent executive director, which we don't know, then I would like to be on the board. So it would be disappointing if I couldn't get back on the board. However, it's my understanding, and Doug reiterated that according to our council, that there should be no issue there. But I also would like to say that I have been mentioning for a long time, in reference to that other parent's comment, I have been mentioning it for a long time of getting some more people on the board. So whether or not, there's an issue with me getting back on there, I think still, I know we have been forward, but I think that's something that we can try and move forward sooner than later. I know we talked about doing it over the summer or whatever, but maybe we can do it a little bit sooner than later to get some more representation of the community on the board, particularly because I will be temporarily not on it.
I guess the question is,
permanently not on it.
If Dr. Watson, if you were to resign, would there be any reason why we could not re-invite him back onto the board at the end of the school year if he doesn't become the permanent?
No reason that I see, and I think the board's resolute that we desire his participation on the board, but we desire his fulfillment of the director of the executive director role higher, and we can't have both. So I think this is a safe vote. It has little implication other than if we have to correct it. If we have to have him write it up as a permanent resignation, we can re-invite him back on the board, of course. But this is better. I think this expresses our desire. We don't want him off the board. We're willing to accept his temporary leave of absence at this time. If he becomes the executive director, then of course it becomes permanent. If the law prohibits us from having our cake and eating it too, we'll correct that. So, so I'll make the motion then that we accept Edward Watson's temporary leave of absence as a board member during the time frame that he's serving as executive director. Could I ask for a second to that motion?
Second from Brett.
Thank you, Brett. Let's have roll call vote then. Brett Freeman?
Aye.
And Doug Husen's a yes. This is a funny one. Do you want to vote on your own resignation? Well,
I don't believe I can.
Since you've already done your part. Ethan Kay?
Aye.
And Glenn Rogers?
Aye.
And Dr. Jolene Smith?
Yes.
And Miller Schwang?
Yes.
Okay, and so for the greater good, we accept your temporary leave of absence. We're ready for a, oh, Mary Beth, someone's asking for the link still. Were you able to open up comments and do that for people? Or is it an email that you can send to everybody to get straight to that shared drive?
Yeah, I will send you the email as soon as we're done.
Parents, to parents, not to me, I have it.
Okay, sure. I'll send it to the parents.
Yeah, if you could distribute that and say that they could always go to it and just refer back to the email, because I can find it every time. I'm just clicking on About Us. I'm going to accountability. I end up with a Google Drive, and then I just click on IIA board meetings and videos. Pretty simple for me, but I maybe I have some privilege they don't have. So if you don't mind rectifying that, that would be great. So great. Then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I motion it, Doug.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. A second, please.
10 seconds.
I think Ethan got the second. We'll do roll call. Brett Freeman?
Aye.
And Doug Husen's a yes. Dr. No, I'm sorry. You're on temporary leave. Ethan Kay,
Aye.
Glenn Rogers,
Aye.
and Dr. Jolene Smith,
Yes.
and Miller Schwang. And he said yes with his mouth, and he was muted for a moment.
Yes, now.
There we go. Thank you. I do want to thank all the board members. I know some of you have been on vacation and you have dialed in on vacation. Grateful for your hard work leading up to the meeting and during the meeting for the last 2 weeks. We'll be in adjournment then, and I'll invite Mary Beth to end the recording after I say thank you to our parents again. You really are the most important part of your child's education, and we're privileged to be partnering with you.
And for those of you who need the copy, please email me.